Hello and welcome to Warp, the completely unnecessary Star Trek podcast where we provide live audio commentary tracks to Star Trek The Next Generation episodes. My name is Matt.
I'm Sean.
I'm Jake.
Aaron.
Minwin. And Minwin. That's it. No May today.
No.
Oh, right. So there.
So there. Take that.
Everybody.
So go ahead then.
Go ahead then.
Yeah.
We are here to watch Up the Long Ladder. Oh boy, this one's rough, guys.
That's a rough one. But it does go back to the early stages of
I didn't watch it. Yeah,
where we
it is
all
a classic
hate the Irish.
space. No, this is classic Gene Roddenberry hating on the Irish.
The Irish.
Oh.
I did not rewatch this episode, but I remember it, and I remember how ridiculous the Irish caricatures are in this
They
episode.
are hilarious.
Sean, how much time is on the clock?
I got 45 minutes and 35 seconds, and I'm punching the triangle in 3, 2, 1, punch.
It was a good punch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was telling May when we were watching this earlier, yeah, this continues the long and strange relationship that the show has with the Irish.
Yeah,
It's funny because, Miles is sort of the almost feels like an apology for all of those decades of making fun of Irish people. They finally have an Irish character on the show who's not a cartoon. But then they do an episode like this.
Which apparently Cole Meany was not happy about.
Is he even in it? I don't remember.
He is in it. He is in it, and he wasn't happy about it. And I read in the IMDb trivia that he was unhappy about it, but didn't feel like he had the juice to complain.
Yeah, he was still he wasn't really a main player at this point.
But when DS9 came around and he was a main player, they were doing an episode where they had Irish characters and they sort of were more caricature-y than he thought was, and he told them, and they changed it.
Well, that's good.
Excellent.
I don't know why Star Trek thinks that it's so fun to make fun of Irish people, but they go to this well a lot. It feels like. Not since the days of Riley on Picard's old or Kirk's old buddy have we seen Irish stereotyping as we do in this episode.
Well, there's probably some certain biases that Roddenberry's had implanted into Star Trek, and it just takes time to iron out those
I'm sure they weren't intending this to come off the way it comes off. I'm sure they weren't intentionally like, let's do an episode where we shit on the Irish. It's just, but it just plays out as completely ridiculous the way these characters behave. This is a crazy episode.
Yeah,
because the ultimate solution that they think they come up with the problem. We can talk about it later when we get there, but it's pretty bonkers what they end up suggesting.
and it's again a huge Irish stereotype that they use to
solve the problem.
They use a leprechaun.
It's almost
that bad.
It's almost as bad as Lucky Charms being involved somehow.
Can't wait.
All the men want to do is just drink as much as possible all the time.
And do no work.
Yeah.
And all the women do all the work.
Well, now I feel like I'm a living stereotype. I don't know. I do drink a lot.
Like Irish people?
No. I mean, I feel like I feel like I do my version of it, because their drinking is they get to a point that they're still comfortable. I feel like, oh my God, what happened to Worf?
There's a subplot about Worf, but I don't remember what happens.
He was not looking comfortable earlier.
I know what it is. He gets like a childhood disease.
Yeah,
childhood Klingon disease, and he's embarrassed about it.
Yeah, it's like chicken. It's like Klingon measles or something, right?
Yeah.
He somehow never got as a kid because he didn't grow up with Klingons. He grew up with humans.
Get the vaccine.
Right. Yeah. Give us the stats.
Yes, Worf's parents were classically anti-vaxxer.
They were Russian. They were Russian.
That's true.
So it could be all a deep. It could have been a deep state conspiracy.
Putin was probably still the premier of Russia, like his head in a jar.
That's what DS9 stands for. Deep State 9.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're watching Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 18, Up the Long Ladder. Original air date May 20th, 1989. An antiqued distress signal leads to 2 lost 22nd century Earth colonies, each facing doom in different ways. One by fire, the other by prolonged cloning.
What?
That'll grow hair on your palms.
And what do you think the rating of this episode is?
Now, did I hear someone say this one's better than the last one?
I think it's more visually interesting than the last one.
It's more entertaining because it's more ridiculous, but
because of all the Irish.
All right, so it may not be rated higher. I'll give it a 6.
I think this is famously considered one of the worst episodes the show has ever done. So I'm going to say 5, 6.
5-7.
Oh, and Starbase 73, so I'm going to say 7-3.
6-3.
Yeah, that's high.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, sometimes you shoot hard.
Well, the last one, it's lower than the last one.
Yeah.
The last one was 6-6.
Yeah.
So
There's a Screenie behind Pulaski.
Yeah. That's they still working on Screenie. There's been several iterations of Screenie at this point.
I'm more
Nothing
interested.
nothing has really lived up to the original Screenie. in
They
my
should
opinion.
why wouldn't they just use the same Screenie? I mean, you can't outwork Screenie.
You can't
never
improve on
better than-
perfection.
You can't improve
Right?
on- Why would they ever evolve Screenie?
It told you a person's blood. I mean, it was right there
What
on the
more do you
line.
need?
If you know blood and lungs,
Give
that's
you
really
cell
all you need.
rate.
Now I want to imagine on the warped starship that we just have Screenie. Everything else is super advanced, but Screenie has been
Well, they
installed.
would be at the head of all of our beds.
Yeah.
We'd have
Yeah.
Screenies with the unicorn penis
People are like,
right
isn't
over
this
our heads at all
isn't
times.
this decades old technology? We're like, it didn't get better.
Well, it did kind of. I mean, they do. Eventually, they do kind of go back to sort of the classic. Yeah, they go back to something that looks vaguely
Because
like.
they finally figured it out. They're like, we've tried the different, and none
Like,
of it's
this
better.
design is so good. Why would you change it? Like,
It's like you go back to your high school sweetheart after you break up and you've gone through a bunch of other relationships. You're like, you were really the one.
Screenie has a setting that is just called brain.
Well, you got to know brain.
I'm gonna post
brain.
it to the chat in case you've forgotten how great it is.
You have to read it like a question, though. Like, brain?
It just has 2 settings. Yes, no.
Those are really
Are you?
the most important settings.
Temp, brain, lungs, cell rate, blood, and blood. There's 2 bloods.
2 numbers for blood.
And then
Q
respiration and pulse.
What
We
more
don't
do you
have
need?
numbers.
It's perfect. It's perfect design.
Yeah.
It's perfect in its simplicity.
I like how they have both Fahrenheit and Celsius still. Like, they haven't figured out which
No.
is still.
Yeah. Fahrenheit hasn't won yet. Which, of
Picard's
course,
irritated by Data as usual. Like Picard's still in his "I'm irritated by you people" kind of personality.
Mhm.
he's got no time for shenanigans. This Picard does not suffer fools.
Yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans going on.
This is a shenanigan-heavy episode.
Oh yeah. Well, anytime you got the Irish involved, there's going to be shenanigans.
You're gonna get you some shenanigans.
Yeah.
No
I
question
think
about
we
it.
named 10 Forward Shenanigans and turned it into an Irish pub.
Yeah, that's a great name for an Irish pub, actually.
You're
Shenanigans.
right. Oh, shenanigans.
Yeah.
I definitely go.
I mean, it's not much of a step from something like Hannigan's to something like shenanigans.
Well, that's a joke in Super Troopers.
Oh.
There's
Okay.
like they're like talking about shenanigans, and they keep saying shenanigans over and over again. The chief's like, the next person who says shenanigans, I'm going to pistol whip. And they say, what's that bar you go to that's got all the shit on the walls? The character goes, shenanigans?
Sweet.
It has been so long since I think we've been to any sort of bar like that, right?
I know, right?
Yeah, I remember going to bars and how much fun that used to be.
It'll happen again.
It will. It will. It's all
No.
right. Jacob, are you all
Not
right?
for Jake.
Yeah.
Why are you
Jake's
too
never
loud?
leaving his house again.
He's like, even when I can't go, that's not going to be where I go.
It's,
I can't hear the TV when I have the sync going. I don't know how you expect me to hear you in a bar. It's not happening.
for
Well,
sure.
there's quiet bars you go to.
What quiet bar have you been to?
You got to go to classy bars.
There are quiet.
Yeah.
There are definitely quiet bars.
I mean,
Wine
that's
bar.
part of the reason bars are problematic is you have to yell to
You don't have to go to a fucking one that's blasting music. There are quiet bars. They're just
Okay.
usually above our class station, so we don't go to them.
I want to go to a 10 forward kind of situation, hang out with
Oh,
you
Yeah.
guys.
that'd be cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 10 Forward is a nice
Let's
quiet.
go to a future
Yeah.
bar in 2022.
If I'm in a future bar, I want to have extra appendages. I think.
Three tits.
Go on.
Yeah. All
Now
right.
you explain it.
No, I mean,
Premise has been introduced. Now you must develop it.
three tits would be cool, but I don't know. That seems so stock and like what everyone would say. Wouldn't you want to be a little more different, a little more
You want
interesting?
like the three legs, three arms, like the guy from the cartoon.
Wow. Yeah. That would be weird, right? Imagine like rolling around like that or wrestling like that, or I don't know. I would yeah. No, stop myself there. That sounds cool. Imagine you're
jumping
triple
jack.
stroking yourself, right?
You were on a journey and you bailed out.
Yeah.
I got shy. I'm sorry. I got shy.
Yeah.
It's the new phase. for me.
Wheels.
Yeah.
All of it would be great. Extra kickstand.
Mhm. You could do
Hard to ride a bicycle with three legs.
No. You just keep your center one like up. It doesn't really do anything.
Sit it in a bar and knee it up to your chest.
Yeah. You stretch. I don't know. What would you do with that third?
You would
Sort
just
of
put one of them to the side and put two on one pedal and one on the other.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have one sort of flopping on the side.
Yeah.
One
One
of the
big
other.
pedal.
Make sure
Right. You can have just an extra long pedal on that side
it's true.
that both feet could fit into.
Well, where are the Irish people? I have seen no Irish people.
They're coming. They haven't gotten there
Yeah.
yet.
Irish
Yeah, you
people.
don't show up for a while.
Are they wearing green?
They're dressed like
the one woman
classic-
is wearing green, actually.
they're dressed like sort of classic farmer type people.
Yeah.
They have rustic clothing.
It looks like
Are they old school?
yeah, they look old school, but they're supposed to be like colonists from Earth. So I don't know how they're not before our time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were part of an exodus from Earth, but they were already a kind of people who shunned
Yeah,
technology.
they sort of were like Amishish,
Oh, okay.
and then they sort
They're
of
kinda
got
doing
that.
their own thing.
So they're Iramish. They're Iramish.
Yeah.
Sure. Like that Alanis Morissette song.
So, yeah. Tickled me.
Isn't
it my
That
right?
place. I'm
I can't wait for
easily
that.
amused or something. I don't know.
It's great.
Like a new colony, and there's a solar flare. Do-do-do-do.
There he is.
Oh, yay.
Got to meet his brethren.
He looks like he's had a trim. He looks nice.
He looks like he has a
God, they
problem.
brought farm animals?
They brought farm
And
animals.
hay.
And hey.
Oh no.
I like that they beamed up the hay too.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Don't they have more control over who they? I mean, how did these
do.
animals and everything show up if all he was beaming up was the humans?
don't
They
know.
were holding on to them. I don't know.
Did he have to set the thing for livestock as well?
The transporter is real loosey goosey sometimes. It just beams up whatever is down there.
You know what the equivalent to me would be?
It's got two buttons. It's got a button that says up, and it's got a button that says down, and that's
and just hope for the best.
Whatever you get.
It's like the whales episode. He had to take the water too.
Gosh.
He had to take the hay too.
That time they did it on purpose, though. They wanted that water.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Picard.
Two things Picard hates.
Children and animals.
Chickens. Yeah,
Just particularly chickens. I hate chickens.
Oh
I've never
no,
had
not
a
a
chicken in my life.
Look at this guy. He's got a flask in his hand.
Wow.
Yeah, they are.
His name might as well be like Drunky O'Shea.
Indeed.
All he does is just be drunk and run a colony. And oh boy, this is you guys are actually missing a lot by not hearing the insane accent work that these people are doing.
Danella Odell.
I mean, it is one step removed from These Are Me Lucky Charms.
Yes.
Like it's real bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the counter argument is maybe like at a certain point there were people who existed like this, and they're trying to document that slice of things, and because they're a TV show, they can only do it in a more superficial way rather than being, I don't know, like Game of Thrones deep, or where you can really invest and like have a lot of, I don't know, just explore and make sure your actors are portraying something beyond a caricature. Is that reaching? Is that?
I mean, that's a generous interpretation, I would say, of what's going on here.
Sure.
This one was so bad that it kind of made me wonder, because they had that writer's strike in the second season. It kind of made me wonder if this was like an old Kirk era script that they had just like recycled and updated for Next Generation.
In the IMDb trivia, it doesn't say that. Doesn't mean it's not true.
It feels like it, though. It kind of feels like an old classic Star Trek episode.
It doesn't feel like Next Gen at all, really.
And there's like these two factions on the planet, and
no, they're two different planets.
Well, yeah, whatever. But you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, close planets.
Get all nitpicky with me. That's Corrections Corner. That's my job.
Well, you haven't been doing it lately, man.
It feels like a classic Kirk era kind of episode where there's like a dilemma that they have to figure out, but it doesn't really have much to do with them. I have a Corrections Corner, actually. For this
wow.
week.
It's been a while.
I knew that this episode was going to be a rough patch to get through, so I prepared. I was like, I better have some other stuff to talk about.
Oh my god, it's like a barn.
Yeah, they've converted the cargo bay into essentially a barn / refugee camp for these people. Who is the planet exploding? Is that why they have to get them off the planet?
Yes,
the planet's going to blow up,
or like the star that's next to it's going
supernova or something.
Yeah, but that was the reason. So they
have a cow in there. Wow, a real cow.
I mean, they spent some money because they had to get all these animals on the
livestock.
They had to rent the petting zoo.
There she is. Look at that. She's her
name is Sassy O'Malley, and her deal is that she doesn't need a man. You know.
Yeah. Are you serious about that name, Matt?
No.
Oh, okay. It's a good name.
It just describes her personality.
Yeah, for sure. Brenna Odell.
Strong-willed O'Dougal. It could be her.
They shun technology, but not eyeliner.
Right.
Well, you gotta look good.
Mary O'Feminist. That's her name.
it's amazing. The set designer just went hog wild with this. They were like, "Yes, I've got free reign.
I mean,
Hey,
the set guys,
everywhere."
it was probably fun for them because they never
Yeah.
get to do shit like this on this show.
I guess okay.
Yeah.
So this, according to the IMDb trivia, this him laughing is real. He actually broke character because of the ridiculousness of the situation
Yeah.
he's looking at.
I mean, there's a cow. Yeah. Imagine we were recording Warped one session, and you walked in and there was a cow in the middle of Warp
I
Studio.
can make that happen.
Oh damn!
But then you remember where Warp Studio is. There could be any number of animals in that.
There's probably
studio,
a cow there.
There's probably some animal
Yeah.
in that room at some point in time. So
Mhm.
why
Well,
would
the
you be
thing-
surprised it was a cow?
The thing is, I'm
That's
not
just
surprised by
cow-phobic.
small animals, but a cow would actually genuinely surprise me.
That was kind of a charming. That was kind of a charming moment when Picard laughed. Like he so rarely see him just
Yeah.
laughing that it was.
Well, I think that's why they used the take that he broke on because
Yeah.
it's so
It
pure.
was
Like,
nice to see him smile.
So that you're saying that was just Patrick Stewart looking around and being like,
yeah,
I can't fucking believe I'm on this
according to the
television.
thing I read, yeah,
This
he was
television
just
show is ridiculous. I'm a classically trained Shakespearean. Look what I'm doing for a living.
yep.
Min, would you settle for a goat in the podcast ranch?
Whatever.
What size animal? At what point in time is it too big to surprise you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
get
I'm
a
trying
goat.
to make. I'm planning
I get
ahead.
Uh-oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wants to
Riker is
know when
kind
she
of a creeper.
Wash your feet.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's got the hots for Mario Sassmouth.
He
Mhm.
sure does.
Well, at least he's offering her his arm, being a
Her makeup is on point though for a woman who lives on a farm.
Yep.
I know, that's what I was alluding to earlier.
Dude, have you seen the videos of like the Chinese rows of people just being trained to become social influencer? It's like a farm. That's sort of what it makes me think of. You know, like these people are probably in, I don't know, maybe not first world cities, but they're still like learning how to, be on TikTok or whatever, and being like some sort of pretty face.
You're saying that there are like companies
training
that train people to do this?
Yeah, or there would be people who would, or whether they're women or men, who would feel like, oh, okay, that's what I got to do to get ahead. And I mean, look at Trump's wife. What's her name? Melania. That's it.
Melinda.
Melinda Gates. That's Trump's wife.
I try not to follow that. It's so.
Once again, Riker has a picture of space on his wall. He lives in space, but he also likes
He
to.
can look out the
He also
window.
likes to hang pictures of space on his wall.
Oh, she wants to wash her feet.
Yeah, she does. I like
And
her.
Riker does not pick up on the innuendo there.
Oh, I think he picks up on it.
I don't know.
He picked up.
Oh, hello.
Now he sees it.
Top
He's
skirt.
like, okay.
She took off her top skirt, you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that hand crocheted top that she's wearing. It's
He's like,
really, really
"Oh,
cool.
What kind of foot washing you want to do, baby?
Huh.
Work your way down, she says.
Yeah.
Is she
Okay.
angling for something? Is this some sort of ploy? Come on, Riker.
Oh, she just wants to bone.
She's never seen she's never seen a man she's not related to in her life. So she's excited.
It's like normally I bone my brother, so this is weird.
Normally it's an Irish cousin kind of situation,
Yeah.
but I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're muddying the waters here a little.
Is an Irish cousin like an Irish goodbye? Like it's actually your brother?
They're setting up a still, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. They're like, we need our whiskey, damn it.
This
Gotta
guy's
get-
like
well,
the
why
most
don't
important.
you just do the replicators? He's like, nah, that shit's not good enough.
This guy's like, the most important piece of equipment I beamed up with me is this still, and I need to get it up and running ASAP. Because my flask is almost empty.
Yeah, priorities.
Well, here's the thing.
We should do the rest of this episode in our worst possible Irish accent.
Yeah. I'm gonna give the counterpoint because if I was in space, I would have a grow operation for sure. You know, I would be ensuring that the greens were there's a cycle of them. They keep flowing. Everyone's like in a good, nice, happy, spacey mood. So I could see where he's coming from.
But he doesn't like what the synthesizer makes.
Yeah. But he's gonna give him some Klingon brew. That's gonna knock his
Drunkio alcohol is not pleased. Synthesizer.
His nose is already so red.
Oh my!
Look at that face.
What it is? That's what it is. Is just old school training. That's how they did it back in the day. It was more slapstick.
That is some slapstick
vaudeville. Right. Vaudeville.
That's like W.C. Fields making faces. Like, this guy comes from a tradition that is from like the 30s. Yeah,
more physical, clowny, a little Charlie Chaplin. So I can forgive it, I suppose.
Did she already bone Riker and is already back?
Yep. Yeah. I got work to do. She's not even happy when she comes in. Like, I don't think she got any pleasure out of it.
She doesn't look all rumpled or anything. She looks exactly the same.
But sort of angry. I agree with Sean. She doesn't look satisfied.
She does not look like, or maybe she was. It just doesn't last long when you're Irish.
She's just trying to keep her colony going.
There you go. Yeah.
She's under a lot of pressure, I think.
That makes
sense. Her father is.
She took 5 minutes for herself and now back again.
That makes sense.
I went and I had a little foot washing with the towel.
A little foot washing. Yeah. You got clean feet. My.
Me feet have never been so clean.
No, Matt. Don't give in to that. No.
Please. More of that.
No.
You may find yourself washing the feet of an Irish stereotype.
Oh boy. What have we become?
We're a replicator of what we see on the screen. That's all we are. Whatever Star Trek presents, we just take it and we regurgitate it in our own way.
What they are presenting right now is a vaudeville review.
That's right.
Well,
here's the other comedy, the one that's being destroyed by overcloning, as was discussed in the.
Oh yeah.
They have no gene pool.
This is the overcloning people now.
Classic Troy. He's hiding something, and they're like, "Okay, got it."
Look at that.
Do you happen to know what he's hiding? Well, no, I don't see that much, you dumb shits. But he's hiding something. I'm just slightly useful in that way.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that coat. That's a
well, like you said, Ron, if they had listened to her last week, Jordy wouldn't have gotten in all that trouble.
That's true.
She's useful sometimes when they listen to her.
Uh-oh. These guys feel a little fascist with their fashion and their
well, we just got used to the Irish, and so yes, this seems a bit sterile.
Mm. Because they're clones. That's right.
Lots of clones.
There's only one perfect race.
The clones.
Someone makes that joke in this episode.
Someone makes a Sondheim joke.
They do. There's a Sondheim joke in this episode. Or reference.
That's cool. Then it makes me think that they really considered the design and everything for this whole thing, which is like, wow, they put a lot of thought into it. That's impressive.
It's a real culture clash because these two peoples, the Irish and these dudes, do not see eye to eye, let's say.
Oh, what are you doing, Pulaski?
I think she's doing a little secret scanning.
Surreptitiously scanning them.
Wow, I thought she was on the. I thought she was like lawful good. She would only do. But that was a little sneaky.
I think this episode and the last episode, they've been doing a lot of work to improve Pulaski's image.
Trying to make her a little more.
Yeah.
She becomes more likable as the series as the season goes on, but
she feels capable.
don't get.
She doesn't have much time left. There's only 2 more episodes after this.
Four.
4.
Yeah. I'm starting to like Pulaski, actually.
I thought the move where she just like injects herself with like a little bit of like antidote to make the lethal Klingon tea not as dangerous to her. That's pretty hardcore.
Boss.
Yeah.
Yes. Very. It's a scientific approach, solution too.
Was drinking the tea, was that just what he needed to do to get over having?
No, that was his way of thanking her for keeping his secret.
Oh, is that what it was?
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Klingon. He does the Klingon tea ceremony.
But he was worried that it might kill her.
Well, it's like you don't have to actually drink it for me to like honor you with it.
It was more of a ceremonial thing.
But then she's like, "No, fuck that! I'm gonna drink it."
I want to drink the tea. Give me the tea. I want the tea.
Give me the tea and then recite the Klingon poetry. I want the whole experience.
Give me the full Klingon.
Oh, can you take the full Klingon?
I went to the waxing place the other day and I asked for the full Klingon.
Give me the full Klingon. That's when they waxed your head and they make ridges on your forehead.
And they'll give you the ridges.
The thing about his outfit is it doesn't look very huggable. It's totally like stand back from me. The guy in white.
Well, he's a cloner.
He's a clone. He himself is a clone.
He is a clone.
Because they've been doing this for like hundreds of years, right? Since they've.
And their problem is that when you make enough copies of a copy, you start to degenerate, and they've gotten to a point where they can't make any more copies.
Yeah, everyone knows that. Everyone ever had to operate a Xerox machine understands a copy of a copy of a copy. Eventually, it's going to not look the same as the original.
Yeah.
Well, so they're asking for them to give them their DNA so they can make clones of them. And they're like, "No, fuck that."
They're like, "Give us your precious bodily fluids, we will make clones of you." Riker's like, "We like to fuck to make our
to make younger ones,
to make our follow-up people. We don't believe in this cloning nonsense." But Riker's like, "In fact, I fucked an Irish lady just a couple hours."
But to be a little meta about it, like preserving themselves in this TV show is sort of like cloning themselves for infinity. Because
if you think about it, if you look at the confluence of the two storylines that are going on, what do you guess the resolution for their problem is?
Yeah, who can guess how this ends?
They're gonna bang.
Smash those atoms together.
I mean, that's basically right.
Basically, they're going to hook up with the Irish because the Irish fuck so much and have so many babies.
Some fresh DNA. So that's what was at the end.
Like, these Irish people need a planet to live on, and these clones need a bunch of sluts to have babies. And so peanut butter and meat chocolate. And
why couldn't they come to that same conclusion themselves?
Well, they don't know about the
They say that over the course of the 300 years they've been cloning, like since they only had like 5 people to start with or something like that, that the idea of physical intimacy has become repugnant.
Oh.
But that's not how that works. Yeah, so they may officially...
Lack of doing it does not make you want it less.
Yeah.
But you were picking up on something, Min, when you said he wasn't huggable.
Yeah. No, I really feel like they crafted this episode well. Oh, look at right. That
Force their hands.
Yeah.
Later.
Why would they not check to see if anybody had a phaser?
Maybe they don't worry about things like that.
Is Worf like...
This guy's like, Commander Riker, who's that?
Is Worf not doing his guard?
I don't know. Is Worf still sick?
Yeah, I feel like their first line of defense is...
Oh, they're just going to take it.
Yep.
Shit.
And hilariously, they've chosen Riker and Pulaski as their two sample
The
specimens.
top man and woman on the ship.
Yeah, we were like,
Pulaski is capable for sure.
Why
That's
didn't they pick Geordi too? That seems
They're racist.
Because
seems
they're
problematic.
racist. Yeah, they're racist.
Well, Geordi does have an eye vision condition. Maybe they didn't want that in their gene pool.
And how did Jordy go blind?
He was born that way. It was like a genetic thing.
You guys.
Are you trying to imply something, Aaron?
Min knows.
Oh,
this.
I was actually answering your question. Sorry.
That was
I didn't
somehow
realize you
further
were trying to do a thing.
Yeah,
making
I
a
did.
jerking it off joke.
He's got very smooth palms, all right? Although they are meaty. Will. Yeah. Oh, is this...
Anywho,
Geordi saves the day here.
oh, they don't remember what happened to them.
Nope.
Yeah, they got alien abducted.
Oh.
And they got probed.
Yep. Belly button probed.
Oh. Whoa. Why did she scan so low?
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't need to scan that low, but there's always been a question I wanted answered. So, is it
that
as big as I
consensual?
think it is?
Come on.
They didn't take any cells and ate.
To be fair, she had not taken the sexual harassment training yet.
That was after her day.
Yeah, it's given annually, and she's only been there
HR
for
has
10
gotten
months.
much weaker in the future than it is
She's
now.
been grandfathered.
Yeah.
So they're going back? They're going back. Mm-mm.
They're going to say, like, they're already making clones of us.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What? Oh. Is that Riker hairless?
They're
I think
still
it's-
growing. They're still in the
It's a
they're still in the process.
proto Riker.
Proto Riker. Oh.
Not on Riker's watch.
Oh.
Dude.
Kill those things.
But they still have the DNA. Come on, Riker. You got to think big term.
Well, he
First
can
things first.
Yeah, first thing.
do
Okay.
something about that eventually. I think it's his theory.
Okay. I like those dryer ducts that they have hooked up to that machine.
Mhm.
Very sci-fi.
No wrinkles.
Well,
Groovy dry ice.
Confrontation.
Yeah.
And it's that's interesting. Those three men in the back are supposed to be the same cloned guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
I mean, theoretically, they got a bunch of twins and stuff, right?
Mhm.
To get to do this, hopefully.
People who look close enough, I think.
Hopefully, they didn't have to clone anybody.
I think they had the two people that look exactly the same on screen, played by one actor technology back then.
Honestly, it's been a while since the Irish have been on screen, and this show is really dragging.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
true.
It's like the
You
one
got-
thing. it
Say
has
what you
going.
will about them. They at least
They are
brought some,
entertaining.
Freestyle.
they brought some
At least
energy
they-
to the proceedings.
Mhm.
Yeah, they fuck.
Yeah.
Right? These guys just clone. There's no oomph in it.
So anyway, how would you guys feel about some corrections corner?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob,
Yeah.
play the jingle.
Correction corner.
Oh, that was a new rendition. I
That's the new jingle.
haven't heard that one before.
Not
Feel it.
not to
Gotta
you,
try new
it's
things.
just
Keep it fresh.
but the one he
These
did-
are corrections for Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, episodes 106 and 107 of Warped. Aaron, you'll remember Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. It's the one with the whales.
Yes.
They go back in time. They go to San
Yeah.
Francisco. They save
Right.
the whales.
The olden days.
We talked, yeah, the glory days. They're actually both really funny episodes. I would recommend people go back and listen to them if they haven't. Yeah. We talked about the design of the probe, the cylinder probe that comes from outer space to talk to the whales. And we were sort of joking about how like the guy who designed it, came up with that idea like 5 minutes before the meeting because it was just, like, such a simple design. Anyway, we wondered who actually did design it. So his name was Nilo Rodis Jamero. He's a visual effects and production designer. He did Star Trek 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then also worked on Poltergeist and Raiders of the Lost Ark. A bunch of movies.
Acclaimed.
Born in the Philippines, which I was going to tell May, but she's not here on this episode, so Jake, you'll have to tell her. She always likes it when a Filipino person is involved in Star Trek.
Sure.
P-Power.
His last credit is Alice in Wonderland in 2010, so I don't know what he's been doing the last 10 years.
Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, the Tim Burton movie. So that's who designed the probe.
Cool, man.
That was a good episode.
We talked about Robin Curtis, who replaced Kirstie Alley as Savick. We didn't really know what her post-Savick career looked like. I said that I couldn't really remember ever really seeing her in anything other than Star Trek. So I looked her up. She essentially retired in the sort of mid-90s and became a real estate agent. She lives in New York. She lives in Manlius, 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 New York. And she is a real estate agent. So she retired.
Where you lived when you were in New York, Min?
No, I was in the
girliest New York.
Yeah.
She also had back in 2004, she made a brief return to acting. She debuted a one-woman show called Not My Bra You Don't, The Sexual Odyssey of a 49-year-old Woman.
I want to see that so bad.
Does sound amazing.
Doesn't it?
So that's what Robin Curtis is up to these days. She still goes to like conventions and I think makes appearances and stuff, but she's retired from acting. We were talking about what stardate that movie happens in because and I said they don't say the stardate in the episode. Most of it takes place in the past, but the Starfleet era stuff, I guessed that it was probably like the 4000s. It actually is stardate 8390 when Star Trek 4 happens.
Right.
We talked about how that whole movie was about saving the whales and how that was a big issue in the 80s. And Leonard Nimoy, that was one of his personal issues, which is why that storyline was included into the movie. And we talked a little bit about whether the situation with whales is better now than it was then. And I said it was, and you guys were sort of saying, no, I think there's still a pretty big problem. So we're both sort of right. Things are definitely better now than they were in the 80s, but there are still 6 out of the 13 types of whales. 6 of them are still listed as either endangered or critically endangered. So it's still a problem, but it's definitely better than it was.
Yeah, like the course that we
look at that fucking little paper coat. Oh my god, that's so cute. If you had one of those, I would die. Come on, Aaron, do it.
All right, I'll work on it. You go.
Okay.
You could get a miniature goat in your backyard for sure.
Yeah, I actually looked at the regulations, and it would appear that I'm in like a place where it might be allowed.
Have you seen goats though? They are a little feisty. You might not want one around. So sorry to interrupt.
Showed up.
If it just showed up.
That's kind of how it goes around here. I already said like, only so many animals per square foot, but they just show up. So
yeah, you don't go out looking for them; they come to you. You're the Pied Piper.
We heard this was the underground,
and the animals just flock to you.
Yeah.
We talked about
the igloo full of crunchies, but who knows why they're coming?
It might be the igloo full of crunchies. That could be.
Nah. I don't buy it.
Was that a goat joke?
And that I rub my body with bacon oils, but
You are the Pied
So the
Piper.
whales are doing better, but there's still a way to go with some of them. We talked about the whales, how they did the whales in the movie, how they showed the whales, and we were talking about how they were animatronics, and Aaron, for some reason, thought that was funny, that we were like that.
I was about to laugh now.
They built 4-foot-long animatronics of the whales. That's what they used for the whales.
4 foot long. That's not that big.
Yeah, well, they shot them as
mini
image.
scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't just make big ass whales.
I'm surprised they didn't make 80-foot whales.
They did build a giant. They built a giant tail for the scene at the end where they're splashing around in the water and the tail, like you see the tail sort of swimming by. They built a giant tail, but the 4-foot animatronics were the main ones that they used for the whales. Kirk and the girl, Dr. Jillian, go to an Italian restaurant for dinner. They order Michelob.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Michelob, and we thought that was funny that they had ordered Michelob, and because you don't get a lot of product placement in Star Trek because most of it takes place in the future. But Michelob is one of the rare instances of a brand actually being named in Star Trek. The other one is also in this movie. It's when they use the Macintosh, when Scotty uses the computer to
talks into the mouse.
Talks into the mouse. He's using an old
moment.
Going back in time, they get to do that.
Hello, computer.
It's such a good moment.
There's a couple of other examples in Star Trek V, which we'll be watching next week.
Next week, we'll watch Star Trek V.
They wear Levi's in that movie in one scene where they're out when they go to Yosemite at the beginning of the movie. So there's not very many examples of product placement in science fiction, but those are the ones that are in Star Trek. We were talking about William Shatner's marriages, and I think that I mentioned that one of his wives had died, and Aaron asked if it was under mysterious circumstances.
She's got that.
And I said no, I think it was natural causes. It was somewhere in the middle. It is not mysterious. It's not mysterious, but it was also not natural. She was apparently had an alcohol and drug addiction problem, and she fell into their pool and drowned while she was she had alcohol and Valium in her system.
And where was Bill Shatner when
he wasn't there? So
was Christopher Walken at the
the coroner ruled it accidental drowning, and the LAPD investigated, but ruled out any foul play. He was not there at the time, apparently, so it was an accident. It seems like.
Wow.
And yes, we also thought that maybe we had heard that he recently divorced his most recent wife, which is true. They divorced in January of this year. He was married. He's been married 4 times.
Of last year.
That's
January this year. It was fun. Oh yeah. Well, when you're hearing this, it will be January.
Last year.
Right. Yeah. January 2020. They were divorced. There's the scene where it's hard to get back into talking about the old show. I keep saying the wrong names.
Yeah.
Uhura and Chekhov go to get the nuclear vessels to get the energy from nuclear vessels.
Mm-hmm.
And we were joking about how did they even get in there in the first place? Were they on a tour or something? And what we forgot was that they're in the scene prior to that, I think we were talking about something else. They talk about the fact that Scotty beams them in. That's how they get onto this battleship in the first place. It's beaming out where they have the problem.
Mm-hmm. Interference.
We talked about how the water tank that they used at the end of the movie, the scene where they're all splashing around, they filmed that in the water tank at Paramount that had parking lots, and then they realized that under this parking lot was this water tank that had been built for Esther Williams back in the 40s.
Yeah.
So he dug up the parking lot and used that existing water tank. And Aaron said, oh, that must be the same tank where they did the parting of the Red Sea and the 10 Commandments. And I thought, listening to it today, I thought, well, that can't be right because that is at Universal Studios. But Aaron's right. It was done at Paramount.
Paramount.
And and they made that movie at Paramount, and that tank was
that
used.
tank's famous. Yeah.
The mechanism that they used, they took that out, and that's what they installed over at Universal Studios.
Got it. Interesting.
That's why the ride is at Universal Studios, but the actual film took place at Paramount.
Good catch, Aaron.
Aaron was right.
Yeah, that's a good tour.
At the end of the movie, we see Spock and his father talking together for the last time, and somebody, Min, I think maybe said that Mark Lenard, who played the dad, didn't look that much older than Leonard Nimoy. So I looked up their relative ages. Mark Lenard was born in 1924. Leonard Nimoy was born in 1931. So they were only 7 years apart in age. So you're right. But Vulcans live a long time, so they all kind of look.
They're like elves.
Yeah. We were very excited at the end of Star Trek IV because the next thing we were going to watch was the pilot of The Next Generation. And we were all looking forward to starting Next Generation. And we said to Aaron, Aaron, Next Generation is so good, you may even want to start watching. And you said, nah, I don't really think that's going to happen. So the correction is, you actually did kind of start watching episodes.
All right.
Yay, Star Trek.
Hooray for Star Trek. That's the end of Corrections Corner.
Yay.
Good job, everybody.
Can we talk about Star Trek 5? That is next session, next week. I am excited for it.
Taking a little break.
Yeah.
Going back to the old
to remind
school.
people of the premise of this show.
Yes.
We're watching things in the order they aired. So the next thing that happened after this episode was the release in movie theaters of Star Trek 5. Star Trek 5.
The IMDb trivias of this episode is the last episode to air before the theater release of Star Trek 5.
So Sean, don't do the box office. Don't look up the box office if you haven't already.
Oh, okay.
Because I did, and the box office game for Star Trek 5 is so much fun. Like the summer of 1989 was a big year for so
all right. I'll look it up.
We're going to have a lot to talk about when we talk about Star Trek.
Looking forward to it. I've never seen it, so I'm looking forward to watching it for the first time.
Are you going to watch it separately before you watch it?
Yeah.
On the show? Okay.
Because I want to watch it with the audio on. And
I will be curious to see what you think of it. I have kind of a soft spot for it. It's generally considered the worst of the movies, but I kind of have a little bit of a sweet spot for it.
Can you guys give us a little more tease about what it is?
It's kind of the way you love your your least intelligent child or something like that. Like it's flawed. It's flawed, but you love it anyway. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about Star Trek 5.
You guys have talked about it a little bit, but can you guys give us a little tease about what Star Trek 5 is about for those who don't know?
It is about the gang trying to find God.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
The gang goes on a quest to find God.
That's super deep. Super deep.
Spoiler, they find him.
Sweet.
Cool.
Double spoiler, it's not what they expect.
I'm hoping it's Jacob at the end.
Just an energized cloud.
Oh no, no! It was cool to hear you talk in the Corrections Corner about that last movie with the whales. It made me remember like our session watching it, and that was a lot of fun. You know,
it was really fun. It was the week you made White Russians, so we all. And we were all
I missed that. I miss us getting drunk and high together.
Oh man, those are so good.
They were so good, man.
Yeah. Well, one day, soon enough.
Yeah.
It's a really good pair of. It's a really good pair of episodes for the podcast because everyone was very, jolly. You know.
Yeah. Very sweet.
It was a fun watch.
All right,
Sean
we'll wrap this one up. I wasn't there. That's why it was so much fun for you.
No, please. We love having you on, Daddy. Come on. I do want to read say thank you to our listeners who are still listening to us. I know we've gone online and our audio isn't quite the same, and so we're working out our sort of our rapport and our feel and everything. But I'm super glad Jacob gave us some updated numbers, and just thank you to our listeners who are still listening to us. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure everyone. So glad to have you guys still with us. Yay!
All right. Wrap it up, Matt.
I mean, we've been doing this remotely since March, so people better be used to it by now.
It's not going to get any better until we do it in person.
So you guys are really hanging in there. Thank you.
Recommendations? Anybody want to do it? Anybody got any recommendations, or we just want to wrap this up?
Let's just wrap it up.
Hey, I just got to say, I watched the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet a couple of days ago because Sean had watched it and was outraged by the ending. So I said I would watch it. Sean is wrong. Like, that ending is, I don't know what they were talking. Oh, what he was talking about. There you go. That's all.
Bonus correction.
It's a recommendation and a correction.
It's a bonus correction.
Sean, you're going to have to come back with your take.
I don't think either of us really care that much.
No, it's not that important.
Thank you very much for listening to Warped. Please go to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts to rate, review, and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at Warped Podcast and get our merch from Instagram at lunar_flare. You can follow us on Twitter at Warped Trek. You can follow me at Host Warped. Follow Min to learn about our Dungeons and Dragons and Call of Cthulhu podcasts at Wet Maynard. And you can follow us on patreon.com/warped to become a subscriber and get access to bonus content and additional episodes. Next week, Star Trek V, The Final Frontier.
There you go.
Until then, my name is Matt.
I'm Sean.
I'm Jake.
Aaron.
And I'm Min Win.
Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.